Carl Dodson. Carl, you've been racing here at
Southern Raceway.
Southern Raceway. How long have you been racing here?
I've been racing here 5 years.
5 years. And when did you get started racing?
I got started in Stinger Division. Tom Lowry had a surgery and let me get in a car, and I got to run my first Stinger race. And probably from that moment on, I was hooked on racing.
And how old were you then?
I was 32.
32 years old.
My dad had just died, and it kind of motivated me to get into racing.
Wow. Wow. And who do we have here with you?
This is Dave Simpson. He's basically one of the few people in racing, if you know what I mean. They seem to come and go, but very few are actually the ones that are loyal to you and been there for you no matter what. And even when we raced each other, he still made sure I was taken care of and helped. I've known him a few years now. He's, guess he deals with me now.
We put up with him.
Right. And what's your position here on the crew?
Crew chief, I guess.
Okay, all right. And
Do what needs to be done.
I hear you.
If I come in with an issue, he's the first one, him and Will, that are there. But I promise you, he's the first one that's on the car, no matter if it's hot or burning or on fire, as it happened a couple weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, the car caught on fire in qualifying. Transmission line burned a hole, and the fire extinguisher inside the car went bad. The fire crew here locally is they got to wait until somebody tells them to go. So they're waiting for the four-wheelers, but there was no four-wheelers, so they ran probably 200 yards over to where the car was and was trying to put it out, and then finally went and got the fire people out, put it out, and then spent 30 minutes putting the car back together while I'm sitting there just trying to calm down because I'm not thinking it's going to happen.
Right.
And I'll be darned if they didn't put it all back together and we actually got to finish the race.
Dang. Wow.
It was a good night.
And where'd you end up that night?
I believe I finished fourth.
Fourth. All right.
With the right front spindle also broke on it.
Yep.
The lower controlling arm broke, and I raced it with a wrong
size tire,
everything.
bent lower control arm, bent tire rod.
Wow.
Came back from the 20s back to fourth.
Sometimes it's not about the equipment you have, it's about the finishing the race and making sure you race how the car wants to be raced. Sometimes you just got to hold on.
Right. Carl, talking with some other drivers, they grew up in the sport from their grandfather, father, and passed it on to their son. You're starting at a age of 32. 32. What do you think the difference is?
I think one thing that's benefited me is having good people around me.
Right.
I didn't have the ability of having people that were family related that already knew what they were doing. I came in this totally blind because I love racing. I always wanted to get into it as I was younger, but it didn't get to happen because my family doesn't come from money. None of them did racing. We went and watched NASCAR like every other person that's in the South. They love NASCAR.
Right.
And I watched all the NASCAR and everything. And really, it was the friends that I got to meet that when I first started off, I had 5 or 6 different people. Dave was one of them. Tally Ward was one of them. Tommy Lowry was one of them. And they were there to help me get what I needed to know. So I actually had a chance to win. In September, my dad was diagnosed with glioblastoma, brain cancer, stage 4. Diagnosed in September, died in December. And the last month or so, when he was not doing so well, he told me life is short. You want to get into racing, figure out how to do it. Doesn't matter if it's small, big, what your budget can afford. Get into it because you never know when you're not going to get to do it. And you know, I've always been a family supporter. I always made sure my family came first. Served 4 years in the Marine Corps, and I've always made sure family came first. And when my wife said you can do it, and supported me, it worked out, and I got to do something. I've been very beneficial to have great people, sponsors, and supporting family.
Tell me a little bit about yourself, how you got started in racing.
Always liked racing. Didn't even know there was a racetrack here until 2007. My first race, the last race of the season, I came out and fell in love with dirt. Started racing in 2008. Had a bad car, bad time, so came back, did my homework over the winter time, came back in 2009, and won a championship for the Stinger division.
Awesome.
And decided to move up in 2010 to the bigger cars and fell down. So I went back to the Stinger cars.
Right.
Came back and had a good time, and been on and off with different cars since then.
Right.
Well, now we've talked a lot about me, but now I want to introduce Will. Will Golay, he's my owner. We use the term co-owner, but really he puts his heart and soul and his financial backing behind me, and he lets me have the co-owner title with him. But without him, I really wouldn't have a chance to race these past couple of years. He's been somebody that's been beneficial to me, and actually ain't no slouch in racing his own self. When did you win the championship?
2009 at Five Flags.
And you've been racing since when?
2008.
And how many races do you think you've actually had to race and then work on everybody else's cars?
Everyone.
Basically, if there's a wrench, he was the one that had to turn it. And no matter what happens, he's almost like a dad figure to a degree, as far as he's nervous, excited, stressed out, pulling his hair out, literally, as he just had to shave his head because we won last week, which was awesome. He actually held up to a bet. He's a firm believer. If you make a bet, you better honor it. That's why you don't bet with Will. So I was kind of surprised he bet this on me. But what would be the main reason you actually started believing in me and racing with me?
Well, Carl always had a positive attitude, and he was always straightforward, and everybody likes him. That's the thing. And he always had a lot of sponsors on his car. And a few years ago, he came and see me, and more than happy to get on board and help out. And he used to work on the car himself, and we just helped out with the money. And then I finally told him, I said, "Why don't you bring out the shop? We'll do the shop together." And it took a lot of load off his life, so he didn't have to do it in the garage. And it was fun for me to get back into it, because after I quit racing, I really just went to the races, didn't do much anymore as far as with it. I helped a couple other drivers out, but as far as turning the wrench and getting back into it until Carl came on board, we didn't really do much of that anymore. But it's fun. The shop helps out. A lot of the guys at the shop, they get into it and they help out working the car. And Chris Risson is my shop foreman. He's worked wonders with the alignment. We got a Hoffman alignment machine. He's worked wonders getting the numbers right for us. And we've really trying to fine tune the aspects of the car. Carl's real good with the setup. We're just trying to fine tune it so we can come out here and have a good time. Last week we were fortunate, we were able to win the race and didn't have to beat the body out, so this is the first time, so it was nice, knock on wood, but we had a lot of fun, and that's what it's all about. The biggest thing is whenever Carl gets in the car, I always tell him, we're here to have fun, let's just have fun, and hopefully put it on the trailer without a tractor at the end of the night.
But he actually allowed me to bring the car down there. That brought a huge load off my family life, because I didn't have to have the car at the house. I wasn't having to work on it until midnight, falling asleep working on it in the car. We work on it during shop hours. When it's 6 o'clock, we're done with the race car. Unless there's something devastating happening, he does not let me mess up family life because of the race car. He told me when we first met, racing can be a great benefit to you and your family, or it can be a heartache on your family. If your family don't believe it, they're not happy, it's not the same. And he's been a true blessing to me and my family as far as what he's allowed me to be able to do as far as free time when I actually have time for family in the evening. And when I can't get there or something's wrong, he makes sure it's done. There's never once that he's told me he'll do something and it wasn't done. There's times when I've actually been mad at him. I'll be there by 2 and I get there at 2 and it's already almost done. And it's one of those, he's a best friend, co-owner, family man that is kind of almost a role model to a degree of how good he runs his business, good to people. He'll give the shirt off his back literally. And it's really a great blessing to me and my family.